Hello, and welcome to our third episode of Voices of the Peace. First and foremost, we'd like to acknowledge that we're filming this show on the traditional territory of the Dene Za. Secondly, I want to say thank you for tuning in. It's been such a pleasure talking with you at home and hearing how much you've been enjoying our conversations. If you're just tuning in, this show was created as a way to find out more about our town, our community, and the people in it. I drive down the street and I see things like the Pomeroy Sports Center and the Cultural Center and a lot of local businesses, and I think, how did that happen? How did that get built? You might play in a sports league. You might be in a community club, a park. You might wonder, who founded this? How did this get here? And that's where the show Voices of the Peace comes in. We want to find those stories. We want to find the teams that built those things, the people who shaped our town. We want to find out what happened so that we can celebrate those stories that made up our town. We've partnered with Urban Systems, who build vibrant communities, and North River Midstream, who know that with the right players and a great community party, we can do this. My name is Ted Sloan, and welcome to Voices of the Peace. I first met our next guests when I worked in the North Peace Cultural Center years ago. The first thing I noticed about them is that they are the hardest workers I've ever met, and in a town of hard workers, that is quite a title. From there, I've watched them dive right into our community. They bought a house here, they opened a business here, they keep finding ways to give back here. And even though he wakes up at 1 a.m. to get things started, they both always seem to have time to stop, to talk, to ask you how you're doing. My next two guests are perhaps the most generous people I've ever met and had the chance to work with. Please welcome the owners of Cobbs Bakery, Hardik and Kretika.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you guys today?
We are doing great.
Yeah, that was wonderful introduction.
Oh, you guys deserve it 100%. I do have to, before we jump into the questions I have, just to confirm, what time did you get up this morning, Hardik?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. This is amazing. Okay, let's start at the top. How did you two end up in Fort St. John? And of all the places in the world, you two are here. How did that happen?
Well, I got here back in 2013, and I went to Northern Light College for a couple of years, and that was my first step in Fort St. John.
And Kretika,
Yeah, I came 2014 and I was in Northern Lights College.
Mm-hmm.
I studied there for 2 years, and I guess that's where we met. And yeah, so since then I'm here.
So, and I like it because we talked a bit about Northern Lights College. It's neat that you guys said, you looked around, you said, here we are, Fort St. John, that seems like a cool place, which is sometimes neat for people in Fort St. John to hear. Every once in a while we go, why would people pick this town? And you guys, it was neat to hear you say, oh, because this town was neat to end up in. So thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Well, let's talk about, okay, so you came to Fort St. John. Let's talk about Cobbs, because that is the business that you guys chose to invest here. I know that you've told me that you weren't necessarily bakers before you got Cobbs. There's a whole process. So what's the story of Cobbs Bakery?
In 2017, then when we got PR, like permanent resident of Canada, on that time we decided we will have a business. So we were looking around. There are a couple of times when we even look out of Fort St. John. But every time we go there, it's not our home. Our home was Fort St. John. So in our head, it's like, no, we will do something in Fort St. John. So then it was just a matter of time when we are just looking around and finding something in Fort St. John what we don't have and which would be great to have for our community. And then on that time, just it meant to be like right time when I got introduced to Cobbs. And I was a very loyal customer where every time I go Grand Prairie, I make sure I stop there. So I start buying breads from there, and then one day, I still remember, I bought those loaf home and me and Hardik were eating, and then I'm like, oh, how about we bring Cobbs here? And that's how the idea came, and then that's how we start, because then we looked around, and I'm like, yeah, there is no place in town we can get fresh bread, like made from scratch. And that's where it was really nice and unique idea. We do know like grocery store have like Safeway or Save-On or any other grocery store have bakeries, but still it's not the from scratch. They get like pre-made, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Versus we made like our home baking. We are so proud to say we bake our bread like homemaking bread. There is no preservative added, no color added. It's exactly like you bake at home. So that's where the Cobbs idea started. And then Hardik went for training and he learned all this and now he's a baker.
Well, I was going to ask, Hardik, did you bake bread before you started Cobbs?
Not at all. But working with Cobbs and other experienced bakers throughout the training process and working myself with my amazing team from last almost 2 years, now that I can say I know a little bit about baking.
Yeah, I feel like baking is science. Not everyone can get it right. You have to have a right time, right temperature. Everything has to be particular. Like if someone doesn't know how to bake, it's hard to knock off that recipe. It doesn't matter you have recipe, you have equipment, but you need to know that. Like, yeah, there are so many things I remember. There are times when I go in the morning sometimes and that certain dough has to set only certain time, otherwise it's garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like it's an experiment.
Well, we're going to jump, because one of our questions that we talked about is, now that you own a bakery, do you still enjoy bread? And I loved it because you said, oh yeah, no, I like it more, which is really neat.
I actually I would say I'm in more love of bread after buying Cobbs.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless you don't know something from deep, you don't know the reality, right? So now I know our bread, and we are so proud to say that it's no preservative or color added. We have so many vegan options.
Mm-hmm.
Plus we have so many options where no sugar bread. They are still sweet. Like we're just talking about apricot delight log, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is small log. You can eat just off the bat. You don't even need to put butter. It's that great. Because it's have 3 parts of the dry fruits, only 1 part of the flour. So all that sweetness comes from dry fruit. So it is healthy, plus you can have something to sweet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I remember before my mentality was like, oh, bread is bread. There is nothing wow about it. But once we have like had a Cobbs, I realizing every day something new for taste that, oh, this is something really nice. Like before when I'm cooking dinner at my home, first would be like, okay, what we are having. And then I will just buy bread from wherever. Now, what bread I have, then I will cook a dish. Mm-hmm. So you can see what difference I'm talking, right? And I never, like for example, you go and buy a loaf from wherever grocery store. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's $2 or $3, whatever. Versus our loaf are like $4 to $5 range, right? Or sometimes it depends what you're buying. But when you just talk about the weight, they're almost double. So it's not, because I do know when people come, they say, oh, $4 a loaf or $4.25 a loaf, it's too much. But it's same equivalent value where you go buy 2 loaf, which is also $4 when you go in a grocery store, but you buy 1 nice heavy loaf, because our is like almost 900 to kg, right? Yeah, and grocery stores are like 400 something. So we are actually really more in love of bread than before.
Well, and something you would say when you guys come into your store, you guys are also, this strike me as really neat, is how much you guys are part of the community as well. Like I love that you guys said, okay, we're going to start a business. We're going to start it at home because we like Fort St. John. We've looked, and I know we've talked, you guys have looked all over going, where's the best place? And it was neat to hear both, okay, business-wise, it's a good place to start, and also community-wise, it's a good place to start. And I know, Hardik, that every time I go on Facebook or something, I'm like, oh, look, Cobbs is giving back. Like you've really invested, you really like this. It's neat to see that your community is what I'm saying.
Absolutely, and that's where the thoughts that came in about Cobbs is the right choice. Is being in a Fort St. John a long time here, we've seen the community, we've seen how people give back to the community, and we just became a part of it. And that's where like we wanted to be, get involved more and more, and we thought Cobbs is the right choice because not that Cobbs only bake fresh, but each and every end of night, anything that unsold product gets donated to school, church, and not only in Fort St. John, but all over Cobbs location. So, which makes us fall in more love to bring it in Fort St. John, which, allow us to get more and more involved and be a part of the community.
I know that we talked a bit about where, like, growing up in Fort St. John, I always knew it was an interesting thing later to realize that, like, oh, I need help. I can ask for help and my community will be there. Like, we're really very proud and very humbled to say, like, Fort St. John is great for being generous. You two, you guys fit right. You guys are super generous. Like, you and not only like Cobbs, but I've also seen, like, my wife and I have said, oh, we need help, and you two have shown up while you're still running a business, while you're doing all this thing. Where did that come from? You guys, how did you become so generous is what I wanted to ask.
I guess that's how our upbringing is. Mm-hmm. That's what our parent taught, like helping out, always, like sharing is caring. It's like a cheesy line, but that's what it was always been. It's like, yeah.
Well, sorry, Hardik.
No, sorry, I said it's feel like who we are more than anything. Like just we even back home, just if you need anything, you just ask a neighbor or parents going anywhere. They just leave you with your neighbor, and they look after you for no reason, and that's just helping each other out for no reason, and that's where the idea comes in.
Let's say with that, like with your neighbor, I was going to ask you. You guys mentioned when we were talking before, you guys moved to Fort St. John, and you said that Fort St. John kind of became your family. Like you guys chose here because you knew that you could get support here, and then your family also came here. What does that mean when you said, like, yeah, Fort St. John became family?
So, for example, like I came by myself when I was 17 in Fort St. John. I don't know how, but it just happened where if I need something, there were certain people will help me out. And it just became so easy. I don't know, like I never felt like outside community person. It just was so easy to involve in. Then I started working at cultural center. That was the best part, when I never felt like I'm going to work. It was always like a joy place to go and help out. It was always that thought, like it was not what I'm making. It's always like, okay, I have to go and help out on this event, or I have to go and help out doing this. So I remember when me and Hardik started working at culture center, after that there was a hardly few times when we say, oh, we miss India or we miss our home. It became, this is our home. Like anytime we have festivals or anything, we will invite our coworkers and say, okay, let's celebrate this or let's do this. It was always became that. So don't even realize when Fort St. John became home, because I remember we made home here, then my parents came. Like then after the fact, family came, because I remember we opened in June and my parents arrived in August. So it was never like, oh, family's here, that's why we are staying in Fort St. John. It was Fort St. John is our family, that's why my family is coming here.
It's funny you say, like, we would invite friends, because that's what you did to me when we were working in the cultural center. You would just show up with stuff, or you would invite me, or that was so neat. You were extremely friendly, which was really cool. It was, some coworkers are like, oh, hey, across, and you're like, Ted, like every day. It was wonderful. Yeah, thank you for that. You really helped. I sometimes think that we've talked a bit about this. People who come to Fort St. John exemplify, like they help build so, like they're already Fort St. John. Like that, you guys are generous. You're giving. You're loving. You don't only fit into Fort St. John, you help expand it and make it awesome. So thanks, Hardik.
Thank you. But I would definitely say we learned a lot of things from Fort St. John and community as well. Like, for example, our wedding day. We just decided one day that we want to get married, and we find out what's the process. And I went to my boss and said, I need a person to sign a paper, and without any hesitation, they just got to agree. And and even you, Ted, I'm sure you were there. You made you offer us to help out as well, and I think that's a great thing to get back from community, right? Is people are there for us as well.
So is there, we're kind of talking a lot about it. Are there things that you really like about Fort St. John? Like you guys have, I mean, you've been all over. You're from somewhere else, but what do you like? What do you like about Fort St. John? I mean, the weather's freezing, so it's maybe, I don't know if it's the weather, but what do you like about up here?
Weather is the last thing I say. But it's only like, there is more positive side than negative side. So when you have more positive, you kind of like, you don't even care about negative, right? Like when a weather is, believe or not, I have really bad sinus problem.
Okay.
So for me, cold weather is absolutely no. But I try to stay warm, even like whenever we have cold, right? The best part about Fort St. John is they're welcoming. You will not feel like you're outside of it. Like I'm almost here from 7-8 years. I never felt like, oh, I don't belong here. It's always that ease. What I learned from Fort St. John is there are people here are billionaires. I worked with some of them and they are so down to earth, you cannot even believe. It's like, wow, this is something I learned in Canada. Like in India, and when I'm especially comparing, if we're in India, they won't have this lifestyle if they have this money. They will have lifestyle like here. Mm-hmm. Versus here in Fort St. John, when you meet some people and you know they have so much money, but you cannot even recognize, like you cannot even tell the way they talk to you. They're so humble, they're so nice, they're helpful. Like, yeah, it's so, we learn, I would say, so much positive in Fort St. John than where I'm from, like good things.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's because you're saying you guys have learned a lot from Fort St. John, but like I've learned a lot from you. Like I've learned work ethic. I mean, Hardik, like I thought I had a good work ethic, but you are working 16 to 20 hours a day, it seems, and then you come home and you also make time for your wonderful, wonderful wife, and you are working multiple jobs sometimes, but then you make sure that you take time to take care of Hardik. Like you two, yeah, we learn from you. You've learned from us. It's really neat that way. So something we've talked about too is there something when you walk in the doors of Cobbs, is there something you wish people knew? For instance, like one of the things that we talked about before was you guys are your community. It's not as though you just flew in here. You guys are Fort St. John. It's not as though it's something that's not connected to this town. You guys are this town. Are there things that you wish people knew when they walked in your doors?
Definitely, yeah. So any time that people make a purchase at Cobbs, they are not just helping us, but they are also helping the community in a way of our multiple giving back program, our dough raiser program, where part of their purchase, we donate back to the community schools and a lot of non-profit organization, which makes the community keep going and grow with community. That's the idea, right?
I have to ask, I've seen you guys like dropping off donations and things like that. Is it fun? Like, do you get like a little like, this is fun to donate, or is it like, no, this is just what we have to do?
No,
it is a proud
super
moment.
Fun. Yeah, it is a proud moment, especially with kids. So at the end, as Hardik mentioned before, that at the end of the day, whatever bread is left over, we donate to a different schools. Like schools come and pick up the bread. Mm-hmm. So next morning when they are having piece of toast and the picture they take or video teachers take for us to see how kids are enjoying, I do remember like looking at those pictures it's worth it to give that. Like you don't feel like, oh, I gave this much money away. It's like how much joy I can give to someone. It's like, it's amazing to see those pictures. Kids are having that bite, listening that crunch in the video. It's like, it's amazing. Like you feel like you had a wonderful toast when you are just watching them. I remember one teacher who comes and pick up the bread said, they have like, I think a Wednesday toast day at one of our middle school here in town. And they say, kids come in the morning with the motivation that they can have a toast. Not like they are going to school. It's like, oh, let's have a
We're going for toast.
Yeah, we are going for a toast. So just that teacher mentioned that can make our whole week. Like, doesn't matter how hard we work, right? The hours are long hours. Just listening to that, it's feel like, yeah, it's worth it.
That's really cool. That sounds like, and you can please correct me, but it's neat because, I mean, it's a business, but it's also a way of giving back. And it's not just, this is Hardik and Kretika, and then this is Cobbs, and it's like, no, this is us, where we picked this because we wanted to give back to our community.
That's correct.
Yeah, I remember. We also does here and there. There is we pack all our like sweets, like leftover sweets, and just drive around and hand out.
So off camera, we were chatting, guys. Hardik, you said something really neat. We were talking about where this generosity came from, and you said what was interesting in India or at home, people just did that, and here you came and you said people did that too, and people said thank you. And you said something like, now I just look for ways to give back even more. Like, that was a neat statement.
Absolutely. It's the thing is, you do that and it's like, it's a normal thing to do. That's how we grew up, and it's like, doesn't feel any special. But when we hear back from community and people saying, oh, you did a great job, man, it's like, just encourage us more and more, and finding other ways to help out to anywhere we could. And just one of those things that never, hit our mind that, this is a thing. But that's another thing we learn here is like, you get recognition, people tell you the thank you in a return, and it just makes more and more kind of giving away awesome.
That's really neat, because that becomes, like, it builds, like you do something and I say thank you, and then you're like, oh, that's really neat, and that makes me want to give something back to you, and then when you say thank you, it just helps make the community more and more generous by yeah, it's a we call it a feedback loop in the audio world. It just gets more and more.
Right. It's just the cycle just spinning again and again, and it just, making everyone look great again and again.
And it's just not like looking great, it's also like making happy, right? Like at the end of the day when you go to bed and you think, oh, how was my day? Like I especially do, and it's like, oh yeah, today I made someone happy for no reason. I tried to help someone. That feeling is the best feeling in the world.
That's a great, that's going to be what I remember from this is yeah, like you guys actively go out of your way to make people around you feel better. That's fantastic. Thank you. Fort St. John is we're super lucky to have you on that.
Yeah, we are lucky actually. We are in Fort St. John and people are accepting us, right?
Okay, well, let's talk about, I read on Facebook the other day, this was exciting. You guys became Canadian citizens, and then as a Canadian I went, I don't even know how to do that. How was it? How was it to become a Canadian citizen?
Such a proud moment, and it's actually a very big moment for all of our family, not just us two, right? It's also our parents, our extended family, everyone. It's like, I remember when we like it happened in a rush because you have to like do lots of paperwork behind it and give exam and things like that. So we did all that, and we were just waiting because due to the COVID, there are lots of things change. And one day I got this email. Actually, we both got the email, and I literally jumped off my chair. I'm like, wow, it's finally happening, because I was waiting for this long time. And it's super proud moment where you are living. Now it's like no one can tell, oh, you're not Canadian, right? It's like, no, you are Canadian. It's like super proud to say. I don't know how to explain that in a word, but it was a really big thing. We went for dinner, celebrated it. Even our family called all overseas and congrats us. So it is a big thing.
That's, when you said I don't know how to describe in a word, I think you just described, like, that makes me so happy. How was it for you, Hardik, to become a Canadian?
Well, I would definitely say I would be voting first time in a future election, and that would be my first vote, and that would be as a Canadian. So, I'll be, that would be like my voice going out as a Canadian, and it's a really great feeling to have it.
Is it? We were talking. That exam sounds hard. You guys are like, we need to know different premier, or like, I don't know when BC became like, you guys know more about my country than our country. How hard was it to become a Canadian?
It was quite a bit reading, to be honest. Like, there is a book you have to read, but there are very good sources you can find, like audio tape. So there is like on YouTube, you can just listen while you are working or doing something else. You can still listen, and then when you're actually sitting and reading the book, it's help because you know something is in your ear and you read, so it's more easier to memorize. So yeah, it was a fun book. It's not something boring book. It's a fun book. There are lots of dates you have to remember, but it was fine.
How was it for you, Hardik?
Not horrible, I would say.
It's the best. Terrible.
But a lot of information, a lot of name to remember, and new place. It's like you just kind of about BC, about Fort St. John, because I've been here long enough to know places around me. When you expand that perimeter a little bit, in country, then you gotta learn each province and a lot of more information, which took a few days to learn and remember it, but we got it.
Well, the other thing, and this is coming out of left field, the other thing that I forgot to compliment you two on is someone pointed out once that if you hear someone with an accent, it's amazing, because not only are they not only do they have one language, now they're working and doing it in another language. You guys, you're amazing. I was going to ask you, and this is unfair, you could say, no, Ted, could you teach me how to say hello in your home language? Do you get, yeah. Okay, I'm going to butcher this, and I'm so sorry. How do you say hello?
So in India, there is no, especially the province we are from, right? So when you say hello, it's the first thing you ask. There's no such thing called hello. Okay. It's like, if I met you somewhere, it's like, how are you? So that would be like, kem cho.
Oh boy, okay.
or we can go namaste.
Yeah, or namaste is another hello. Okay. But it's in Hindi. So there is two languages we know. It's Hindi, which is our national language in India. Everyone knows that language. And there is a province language. Like every province have their own different language. So where we are from is called Gujarat. So our language is Gujarati.
Okay. So you guys know 3 languages?
Yes.
That's so cool.
3 full language.
3 full language.
And, little bit, couple others.
I feel so bad. I know this much French, and I'm going. I don't know if I can even attempt to say hello. That's so impressive. Is that just because that you just need to know that many languages when you lived in India?
Yeah, that's how you grew up. So for example, when you are in the house, you speak Gujarati, right? Because that's what everyone speaks in your house. Then when you go out for your school or something, then there is another friends. You make friends, they speak Hindi, because let's say other province is some other province, let's say Rajasthan, which is another province, right? So if they have their different language, of course that language I don't know, but there is a common is Hindi. So we start talking in Hindi, so we learn that. And then when you go to school, you learn English, right? So there is that's how we know 3 language. It's just that's how we grew up. It's never amazed that we know. It's when we came to Canada, and we were, you need 3 language. Then we realized it is a big deal. But till then, in India, it's nothing. Everyone knows.
It's a normal thing.
It's a normal thing, right?
Man, that's really cool. This is a weird question, and again, you could be like, I don't know. What language do you dream in, or do you find yourselves going between English and oh no, I don't want. There's Hindi. No, not Hindi.
Gujarati?
Yeah. Which one do you think or dream in?
Both, I would say, English and Gujarati. Hindi won't be that much a part of our life. it used to, because when we were in India, you used to go to school and college and meet people in India. Then that was the best way to communicate. So Hindi was really big part back home, but here it's mostly like English. And then when we are at home, we only speak Gujarati.
Yeah.
So it's like a nature. So for example, if you are Gujarati, there is no way I can talk to you in English.
It just comes out.
It just comes out automatically. It's like, I'm assuming like if you are French and if you say another French,
You just started French.
you just started French. It's same like that. It's like when you see. So my mom always keep telling us in the house, talk with me in English so she can learn English. She can go and speak, right? She's almost nagging all of us from 1.5 years. But we couldn't. Soon we see her. It's Gujarati.
Thank you, by the way, because these are personal questions, so thank you for letting me ask them.
It's okay.
But some days,
Yes.
it goes like I'm like working and my head is somewhere and I'm thinking, and then my coworker or someone, I'll like tell them something which would be not in English, and then they will be looking at me, and I was like, and then I'll realize afterwards, what did I say? Then I have to translate again to English and then say, this is what I said.
But you know what's the best part about Canada? They understand because they are also from different countries. Canada is such a diversity of as a country where all different religions are there. Like you learn so much from each other, right? Like we do have lots of Filipinos we work with, and when they tell about their culture or their stories, then you think, oh, that's something neat, that's something to learn. Or you go, oh, we have something similar like this. Like recently, me and my coworker, like I was doing closing shift with her, and we were talking about some food, like prayers before food. So I'm like, yeah, we do that too. So it was like, it's really neat to know how your basic moral values of countries are same. No matter, like it's just different. They might have other way to do it, but at the end, the result is that like you respect your food. You say thank you to the God. They might do it differently than we do it, but at the end, we are saying thank you, and we are thankful that we have food on our plate, right?
That's really neat. So even though we're from two different places and the weather's warmer somewhere else than here, people are just people, and that's so cool.
I work with like an indigenous organization for almost 4 years. So me and my manager, like their native culture, right? So we talk a lot about it, like whenever we had free time over the lunch or over the coffee. And it's amazing how much similarity we have. It's just blew our mind. It's like, wow, I would never knew, or she could never knew if we didn't talk about it. Yeah, it's like, so the family values, or you are there for your family, or even the food things, prayers, or once someone passed away, the rituals after that are so similar.
I would like to know more about like you guys know about like I would love to talk about like what's life like in India, because I don't really know much. Do you guys miss India? Like what is it? What it would be? What's India like is what I should ask. I can ask either of you. Yeah, like what was it like growing up? Or are there things that you miss specifically? Or are there things that you're like, oh, I would miss this, but we still do it over here, just differently?
Definitely miss the friends and family.
Yeah.
And food.
I miss weather.
Yeah.
But that was a long time that it's like you are young, you just go to school, go to just college, and then it's like that's your life. It's just friends, family, school, right? And it's like you learn a lot of things, but still then we move here and it's like a different side of the world, different side of the life. And then, so those are the things I would definitely would like to have it here, that get more connected, kind of always.
Can I? No, sorry.
So the verse is the other hand when he said, so we do celebrate certain Indian festivals here, right? But in a modernization way in Canada, because of course, first of all, we don't have all the resources to celebrate, or we don't have family to celebrate, but then you don't even realize you create your own way to celebrate that festival with the same values but different way, right? So we never celebrate Christmas before in India. It was just like a day off in India for school or something like that. Versus now we do celebrate Christmas at home, and everyone in our family is amazed that, oh wow, you guys becoming Canadian, and we are like, yeah, proudly.
Okay, so I have two questions then. I have one, what would be something that you would celebrate in India that we don't celebrate here? That's question one. And question two is, when I think about moving, like I moved to Ontario and I found that was hard, but I'm still in the same country and like I still have family there. My second question is, was it scary or hard or just natural to move literally to the other side of the world? So let's start with that question. Was it?
I know what you're saying. So for, I guess both of us, but especially if I talk about me, I was too young to recognize, oh, it's hard or it's easy. So the way I had my mindset was, after 12th, I want to go and study abroad. That was my like dream or my goal to do it, right? So when this opportunity came, I never thought once that, oh, it will be hard or this or that. And I must say, like, my parents both are very supportive. Like, no matter what, if it comes to money, it comes to mental support or whatever. I remember, like, when you are coming to a new country, first of all, the big weather change. It does, because plus 45 to minus 45, right?
That's almost 100 degrees difference.
Yeah, so it's like a big shock. But even I remember my parents calling me twice a day, in the morning, in the evening.
And the time zone difference would be massive.
Still, like every morning when my moms wake up, it will be evening here, and first thing she will do, she will call me. And she did until she arrived in Canada. And same with my dad, he will always call me in the evening. It's not like we chat for hours, it's just like 2 or 3 minute quick conversation. Are you okay? Do you need something? Or if I remember, soon you say hello, it's amazing. They know something is wrong. Or you say hello and they know something good happened. I don't know how, but they know. So that support was always there. So anytime you fail or you succeed here, they're always there. And the peace of mind to me was, no matter what happened, if I fail, if I succeed, I have my parents at back. So if I even go home as a failure, they will love me the same. Or if I go as a success, they will love me the same.
Your parents sound pretty amazing.
Yeah, they are. I'm so lucky to have them, to be honest. I can't say they're the best parents because I don't have other set of parents, but I would say they are the best parents in the world.
Kretika, that is like the most humble thing to say, going, I can't say they're the best because there might be, but they are pretty great. Like they are, that's fantastic. Oh.
Yeah, because I don't get, like, when say, I don't have comparison, but it's like I know what I have is the best thing in the world.
This is not a comparison of a parent
No.
now. I was just going to ask though, like, was it scary for you to move across, or was it just like, no, that's the next thing on my list?
Well, it's not a new thing, I would say, because a lot of in our family, like they leave and then they move
migrate to different countries.
Yeah, they go different countries, and then so I always seen that happening in the family. So it was one of those things that one day I'm gonna do it. So and then it was between deciding where to go. And then I just find that Canada would be the better place for my future, and Fort St. John to be the place.
That's, like I've said multiple times in this conversation, we're very lucky that you were like, that place, that little tiny place is great. That's, yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if I Googled it.
Yeah,
when I chose it.
You just literally were like, that looks great, we'll go there?
So it's like I had options of colleges for different university, right? All that. And then, I'm an accountant, so I go for numbers. Even in even when I was not in accounting, but I always like a money saving person. So I saw that Northern Lights have a affordable tuition fees. That was the number one eye-catching point, right? And then I applied to it and I got into it. So it's just become easier, like, because I got accepted, great. Then what's the next process is to get the visa to come, like to immigrate here. So we did that process. And then I remember when I was coming here, I still, till that day, I didn't knew the Fort St. John will be too small or small like this. When I arrived, I realized, oh, this is quite a small town, because where I grew up, it's like maybe bigger than Toronto.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So I say me and Hardik, we both had like very different or busy life than Fort St. John. So in the beginning, it took us like it take time, right, to accept. Okay, we don't have different mall, or we don't have this luxury, or we don't have so many options to eat out. But then slowly you get used to it, where it doesn't bother you. It's like, yeah, this is what we have.
Well, and it's neat, just hearing you say that too, because we've talked about how, and we've talked about in other conversations, you guys did look at all the other places and go, oh, maybe here, oh, no, Fort St. John. So it's neat to go, just to hear you go, we've looked at it, and yeah, this is, there's more positives than negatives, and we really like it. So,
Yeah.
Did you know where it was before you jumped here?
Nope. But back in the days, it was a thing is how to, save in your tuition fee, and because we starting in a new place from scratch, where we don't have anything, and we gotta build our life. That's the mentality we are moving to, right? So first of all was wherever we could start to save could help us in the long run. And then after being in Fort St. John, like getting graduate, getting a full-time job, and after all that, it's like realize that this is the place like you can work, you can save money enough to build your life, and being around nice people too.
I just want to give you guys an award. Okay. Let's talk about, well, actually, let's go back to that next question, because I was going to ask, like, what do you do for fun? But what festivals do you do in India that we wouldn't have here, or that like, yeah, let's talk cultures, because this is really interesting. I like listening about this.
So in India, I can say every month we have one festival. It's like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. But then when you like look deep into it and comparing Canada, pretty much every month we have a stat holiday, right?
Yep.
So it's not like it is, at the end of the day, is the same perspective, is to spend time with your family. One day a month you give your best to your family, like no work, nothing. So it's the same concept in a different way. So let's say in India, we recently in January, it's like a kite festival for 2 days where everyone get off, right? So versus here, we will have a family day, right? I guess in February, if I'm not mistaken.
February 19th, so I heard.
Yeah, so it's like a same concept, right? Then Christmas is like our Diwali. So it's nothing major different where we don't celebrate what we celebrate in India. Here, it might be different. So for example, in summer in India, we have a color festival called Holi. So we play with like colors and water and things. But if you see in summer here, we go and play at the river with water. Not necessarily with color, but we do play.
We have mud.
Yeah, we have mud, right? So we do enjoy that. We go out and get dirty, so it's similar concept, that not necessarily giving a particular name, versus in India we have a particular name of each festival, versus I guess here as well we have like a family day, Labor Day, or things like that, right? So it's not, if you see like from inside very deep, it's not a big difference. If you look at the outside, like as a third person, you might see the difference. But when you start living both, because we lived Indian life, came here, start living Canadian life, even like in then we can compare and say, yeah, it's not much difference.
Okay.
In the beginning, it was like, I remember when I came in January, and my first kite festival, I missed it. I missed it so hard. I'm like, oh my god! Like in India, you do video call. It's really sun is there. People are enjoying, and it's way different world versus here. I was in the snow, and I remember there was not even a sun came out that day, and it was like, oh, like depressive. But then slowly, like now, recently we don't even remember, oh, there is a kite festival. It's like when you use Facebook or something and someone posts picture, oh yeah, something, yeah, normal.
I want to just point out like how wise that is, though. Like it looks like you guys have, you have, like it could be very easy to go, oh, it's not the same, I miss it. But it seems like you two have said, you know what, we're here. And then you've really looked at it and reflected and gone, oh no, what we value is similar here, just a little bit different. Like that takes a lot of wisdom. Well done. Good job.
Yeah, it took us like, in the beginning, because when you came, okay, it might look like I'm bragging, but
Please
when we
do.
came in Port St. John, we always had like a positive mentality, right? So I always compared myself like this. If I'm in India at 18, will I have an iPhone? Probably not. Yeah, my dad can buy me one, no problem, but it's not something from my money. Versus here, I can pay my own bills. I can proudly looking after myself. So I won't have that if I would in India at the age of 18. Now at 25, yeah, I can look after my family even if I'm in India. But at age of 18, I won't have that. So that's where you don't like miss India much, or not try to look something negative that, oh, why I'm here in this dull weather, or why I'm here, right? It's always something, I feel you can always look something, find positive in any situation, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, one of the, like, when you said you go home at night and when you fall asleep, go, what did I do go well today? Just as a testament to you, is you go, oh, I'm in Canada, I can do this today. And then if you're in India, you could also say, oh, I got to do this today. So that's a testament to your character.
And it's also not just like, let's say, when I came to Canada, I left all my friends, right? And you know, as a teenager, your friends is your life, nothing else. It's all about them. It's all about hanging out together. So when I made that move, I did lose so many friends. Like, I remember my parents will get tired because I had so many friends, like coming and going, and they cannot keep track how many friends I have. Now, I can count on my hand. So the positive side, I looked at
good.
it.
I was like, oh no.
The positive side, I looked at it, is I don't have any so-called friends. I have these 5 friends who actually my friends, who they might didn't knew on that time that what I'm going through here, or I'm building my life here, so I don't have time to contact them every day. But when I connected back to them, we had the same warmness in our conversation. So the positive side, those 5 or 6 friends are my true friends. So I don't have so-called friends anymore.
When you write a book, Kretika, about like how to be good at life, I'm going to read it.
I try. Trust me, I make so many mistakes. I screw up and I'm like, I screwed it up, but that's okay. I can make it better next time.
This is a really, like, thank you. Like, this is really cool that you're, like, I feel very privileged to listen to all of this wonderful stuff.
Thank you.
Hardik, I wanted to ask you, with you're back in India or Fort St. John, like, let's say for a good 1 hour you're not working, are there things that you miss about India, like activities or friends, or like, how do you relax, kind of? Well, okay, let's put it into 2 questions. 1, are there specific things you miss? Or 2, are there things that you do to relax that you get to do here or in India? Let's start with, like, do you miss India?
Definitely, not every day, once in a while, because India was like, I was doing nothing but just hanging out with friends, rather here, nothing but working, hardly see any friends. So there's like a 2 different side of the life I am right now, and I'm proud and I'm happy where I am. Not that I don't miss them, but the thing is, I like the progress. I moved here for something, and it's happy to see the progress I have made is, better for my life and family. So, yeah, I'm good where I am.
And the second question, do you relax?
I do. Whenever I get chance, I try to spend time with her. We go out for dinner, stay home, eat together, which doesn't happen often, but that's the time I feel that I get relaxed when I'm talking to her.
Kretika, how do you relax? Or do you relax? Because
I do relax.
Okay, the other day you said, I have time. I need to go find something to do.
It is like that. So he sleeps around 6:30, right? Mm-hmm. So when I come home around 8, he's already
getting ready.
He's not with me. So then either I will get ready. I help small things, and I will make sure in the morning when he wakes up, he have all the things he needs in a certain place, so you don't have to go and find things.
So I don't ruin her sleep.
I see. Okay, I was like, that's so kind. Oh no, there's a second way to this.
It's not about ruining my sleep, okay? So that's like when I do something to help him out, I feel relaxed. I'm like, okay, I helped it, because I'm not physically strong person, to be honest. At my age, saying that, yeah, I know, but that's true. So anytime I can help him little bit with anything, I'm happy. So then I'm like, yeah, I did it.
So I'm going to read your book on life. I'm going to read How to Be a Good Couple from you two, and I'm going to this is amazing. This is amazing. I think we did all of our questions and more. I like this end. It says, "You two are some of the coolest couples I know. Could you tell me a bit about yourselves?" And I feel like I've learned a lot about you guys. Are there things that you'd like? Anything that we've missed that you guys want to chat about?
I think so.
I met Hardik first time, which is very odd. He's very punctual and good about that thing,
Yeah. Yep.
But he's always on time. He likes to go early than he's supposed to. Versus me, I'm always little bit 5 minutes, 10 minutes late. I'm that kind of person. So that day, I was on time in class, the first day when I saw Hardik. And he was late. So that's how
you...
I catch him.
Was this part of a ploy? Were you like, there's a new girl, I'm going to be late, or are you going to sleep in?
No, actually, to be honest, I was just helping my roommates.
Oh my gosh, I'm late because I'm a good person. That's...
No, because he was picking and dropping up his friends, because they only had one car they were sharing, right? And then I was there. I still remember it was our first lecture. For me, it was first lecture in Canada in NLC, and for him it was second semester. Okay. So that's where my eye got catch, and then he knew before that I'm coming. I don't know.
I love. Do you want to tell this story? You don't have to, but I'll leave it in your hands. How did you meet Kretika?
I remember, I think I went to college for something, and then I was talking to this instructor, and they said, here's the new students that are coming if you guys have a place to have them accommodate. So I was looking at the list, and I see the last name, Patel, which is the same last name. So I said, oh, Patel, and it's a common name, last name at back home. So we just thought, okay, then I check out the first name, and I was like, oh, very unique name. And she has a unique name. I haven't seen other person has the same spell as her. So I'm like, I wonder if it was a girl or boy, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So then the first day that she mentioned, went to the class late, and then after that, one of her roommate and my friend was like, okay, let's go to her dorm room. So that's where we get connected through
through mutual friends.
Yeah. And I kind of start flirting.
Okay, that's where it started. Excellent.
But yeah, then it wasn't anything that where it's like we are so young, just
Liked each other.
like each other. Yeah, like we find same kind of culture, same home city, and it's like kind of so close back home, but never met each other, right? So and then after like being in college, we just kind of start knowing each other, and then we start dating, and then the big day just happened suddenly.
Just on a side note, I just remember the day we're like, Hardik, how are you? And you're like, I'm getting married. And we're like, wow, that's like, most people are like, there's this, you're like, it's happening. It was wonderful.
Yeah, no, it was a big surprise for even our family too.
Well, you guys are, like, I think Fort St. John doesn't realize how lucky we are to have you. I mean, in this conversation, we've covered, one, you guys chose Fort St. John. You looked around, you did research, you're good with numbers, you're wanting to be part of the community. You chose here because you wanted to invest here. Two, not only did you say, okay, we're going to plant roots here, you automatically say, not only are we going to build a life for us, we're going to build a life for people around us, which is incredibly generous. I've also learned it was really neat to hear how proud you guys were of being Canadian. And that's really humbling for me. To go, wow, people are so excited to be Canadian. I've also learned about the similarities between our cultures and the differences, which is really beautiful because if we were all the same, it would be boring. But we're different, but we also can share a lot of those same values. And I just love hearing all of the little stories of your love story, of your business story, of all of that. This has been a really fun conversation for me. So thank you too, because I know that you're both very busy. So thank you for coming to take it like an hour out of that schedule to come chat with us.
No worries. Thank you for having us here.
And it goes same for us too. It's like we learn a lot of things from everyone around us. So not only that we are good, but we learn from good people too, how to be good.
Yeah, we are surrounded by good people.
I think that's the best note to end it on. Yeah, so if you see Hardik and Kretika, they own Cobbs, but they're just, like I said, they're wonderful, wonderful people. They are such a great part of our community, and they always have time to, it always seems like you have time to stop and chat. I have no idea. I don't want to say, just talk to them. They have all the time in the world. They don't necessarily, but thank you guys. And I look forward to, gonna go get some bread, gonna go get some apricot loaf, which sounds delicious. But yeah, we'll talk again soon.
Yeah,
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning in. Also background, thank you to our lovely crew who's sitting here. You can't see them on camera, but they are doing all the great work to make us look and sound amazing. So from us to you, see you next time. My name is Ted Sloan. This has been Voices of the Peace.